Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 4, Episode 11, Revenge of the Triceratons. Now, coming off, of course, the really cool 80s current as well as old 80s comic book crossover episode from last week, we're right back in the main storyline, and once again, constant crazy back and forth with some extra really cool stuff thrown in this episode, being Gremlins, which I actually thought was pretty awesome because they even pay homage to the movies with some of the deaths. I believe, at least, because I haven't seen Gremlins 1 or 2 in quite a while. But the first death that they did where Casey kills the space gremlin and he uses pizza to do it, I'm pretty sure that's an actual kill from one of the Gremlins movies. They just throw it in the microwave and it explodes. And I love that. I was like, that's actually cool. They got a slightly gruesome with it, which I thought was cool for the Turtles. Which, especially me being one of the older viewers of the series, I love seeing more of that side of the show. But that was really cool. They had it where they were just like blowing those things up left and right. Like April was using the crap out of her camera, her camera gun, just destroying those things. So I was like, this is cool. We're getting to see them, it's just like goop and they're just blowing up and stuff. And I like that. I was like, that's actually really cool. It starts off with this, basically it's like a giant larva, which I thought was interesting. It was completely different than what I would have expected from that happening, because I thought it was going to be like a bunch of these tiny little worm things, because it looked like it was leaving a bunch behind as it moved. But that wasn't the case at all. It was like this giant thing, then it hides, and poof, we have space gremlins throughout the whole episode. And I loved every second of that. It was fun to see that. The Triceratons, of course, come into play. They are the other half of the chaos for the show. They're basically, it was because he's a captain now instead of an admiral or whatever he was before. And it was pretty much him just talking down to everybody and not knowing, like they made him a very different character, because when he first showed up in the last season, he was just like this. He was the leader. He was the menacing leader character. And I wish I could remember if he was a captain back then, and so it was kind of like, time-wise, but I'm sure that wasn't the case, because he would have mentioned something like, you turtles again, or whatever. But I really enjoyed it. I was like, that's cool, even though they're making him definitely funnier than he is. Like when he first showed up, he was just like completely menacing, which I prefer, to be totally honest. But I don't mind them having the funnier side to it. Of course, this is a different version, because he has been beaten down by the Turtles, because he did start off as that character. And now it's gotten, he's slightly funnier because he's been beaten so bad. And he's been demoted, and he, some stuff he just doesn't know, like the black hole generator stuff being basically invincible. And I was like, I knew we could destroy the ship and everything. So he had some funny lines. I think my favorite was, I don't care if you can't see the ship, I want to see it explode. I thought that was actually a really good line. Like, that was funny, but it was also evil. Like, that was him being threatening, but it was a funny line to me. Like, I don't care if you can't see it, I want to see it blow up. So I like that side of it. They weren't really too personally involved, which I would have preferred a little bit more, but we did get a pretty cool fight scene. The second full-on laser beam death of a Triceraton as well at the end of this episode, by the Doctor, because once again he comes in after Donnie fixes him, and it was a totally different way too, because he almost like split up on like tiny little bits and pieces, and was like, a globe that separated into puzzle pieces or something before he shot the laser. And it was just crazy. Like, he just destroys them. Everyone sees it this time, instead of it being like this crazy thing that happens off screen and somebody turns around like, I'm pretty sure he just vaporized them. So everyone got to see it in this episode, and I like that. He's a little different because he has like those little hiccups at the end when he's talking to Donnie, but that was cool. It was a very minute focus on Donnie and him realizing, where his, mental acuity is within the known universe, and he's 3,000 years behind, known science and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really cool, that little bit of focus on him, and him stepping up when the Doctor got decapitated in this episode. And then he puts him back together with spare parts and stuff, and the Doc mentions that he does it, or he used spare parts in ways that the Doctor never even considered, which I think resulted in kind of the laser being shown in a different way than it was before. So I like that. That was a cool little thing. He totally did it. He was freaking out like, I'm not smart enough to do this, but it's Donatello, so he definitely was. The ending fight scene I did think was pretty cool. That was, probably one of my favorite parts, because it was, I love seeing the Triceratons, because they come in, and even with Shredder, it's like, even when the Turtles fight him, he does have to block, and he has to, be careful, because he's still technically the same size as them. He's better than them, but it's still 4-on-1, and he has to, dodge and move around and stuff. But the Triceratons are just tanks. Like, they flick their hands and they like knock the turtles back. So I like when they fight them because it's not easy. It's always a challenge. And that was pretty much everybody. Like, April was shooting at him, Casey went at him, Casey and Raph went at him at the same time, and nothing happened. He grabbed them before they got away and threw them across the rooms. Mikey, I'm trying to remember what Mikey did during that part. I can't really remember, but no one was able to stop him. And Leo came at him, which was a really cool scene, because I always love the visuals that they have when they follow the turtles around. So really like getting to see that, and he's like, blocking lasers and stuff. And of course, they kind of made it seem like he was gonna get a hit. And the Triceraton just puts his head down, just really hard. He puts his head down and he headbutts him, and he sends him flying when he does that. So I really enjoyed that fight because I love seeing them take on the Triceratons because they cannot beat them even as a team with brute force, and that's why I like the Triceratons. Even like I said with Shredder, they can't really beat them, but if they were able to really think about it and work as an even better team than they already do, they could do something with them. But the Triceratons, is like he could grab two. He could grab two of the turtles, and the rest of the other two turtles could come right at him, and it's like, this doesn't do that much. It bothers me, but it's nothing. Like, they are tanks, so I actually really enjoy getting to see that. And of course they couldn't, like if they all went down on the ship, and it was like, let's all three of us work to take out the turtles, and then go, get the piece of the black hole generator. That would have been very different, because there would be no success, even with the Doctor coming in, because the other two would have to like stand in line basically to get shot with the laser. Even with that, they'd have a crazy difficult time taking on 3 Triceratons at once. So that's what I love about them, and I was glad we got to kind of see that at the end. And they did get away with the black hole generator pieces. And once again, it's, just that back and forth, and the turtles have to go get the final piece. And, as Casey put it, we'll get the final piece, then we'll get the other pieces from those guys, and then, their plans to destroy it. But who knows? I mentioned before, I think, they'll get all the pieces, but the black hole generator will work, and then they'll find some way to like reverse it after the other versions of them go back in time. I still feel like that's how that's going to play out. So we still have a little ways to go. It's hard to guess, of course, with all the hiatuses and stuff, because most shows are going into the season finales now. So it's like, I would like to think we're in our season finale, but we're not even close. We have to be maybe, I guess, halfway through this season. I believe it's like 20 episodes, or 20, like about 20, 22, 23 episodes per season. So, I guess we're about halfway through, a little over halfway. But either way, I'm looking forward to where they're taking things. It was cool to see, kind of a part of the main story. Although I still feel like it's a lot of just back and forth, and that's like the one thing about this season. Like, it's still entertaining, of course, but it feels so back and forth that it's a little difficult. Like in the last one that they did, where they were trying to get the black hole generator, it was very different because we finally got to see, I guess, one half of the main villains for this season. He finally comes in with his bugs. We had Armagon come in as well, and it added a very different element. And they also did that when they went to the first planet where it was completely destroyed, and that was pretty cool. But that was kind of a simple episode. They went to a planet, they got it at the end. And then the last one I thought was very good because they, had the main fight with one of the main bosses basically of the season. And we had the sub-villain Armagon, so we had a lot of different stuff happening in the last one. And this I thought was cool because I did enjoy the Gremlin stuff. That was pretty awesome. And the fight at the end was pretty sweet. And they do fail, which I do enjoy because that does add that element of fear as to what will and will not go wrong, with this mission. But it feels just like there's so much back and forth, and then when we get an episode that's not about the main story, it's hard because I think it's more so because of the fact that we have all these hiatuses. That's why we're kind of so driven to, well, at least me, I shouldn't speak for all of us, but I'm so driven to not liking the filler episodes because there's so many hiatuses for this show, and they do like such crazy long breaks. It's like, man, I hate watching filler episodes, but even when they do regular ones, all I think of is like, man, I would wish the regular episodes would be a little bit different. Like, I feel like there's so much back and forth, and I don't know, it might be because every time it really does feel the same. It's like they get a piece or they don't get a piece, which is obvious from the beginning. That's the only way it can end. They either will or they won't. But even though I enjoy the stuff in between, it just feels like the overarching story. And once again, I feel like this is the hiatus thing. It feels like it's not really going anywhere, but we're only, you know, it's been so long since this season technically started. And it just, I guess that's a part of why I feel like it's taken forever for them to do anything. It's like, well, it takes forever for us to even get an episode. So I think that's what's happening. I'm trying not to think of the episodes in that way, but it's really difficult because we get, so many breaks. But I did enjoy what happened in this episode. I still enjoy the episode just in general, but overall it's starting to feel like, I just wanted to kind of reach the end ultimately. I'm ready for them to just get back to New York, or at least, have more episodes with the bug villain. Of course, I can't remember his name. More episodes with him. Maybe all three groups, from now on are in each episode, and they're all going for the black hole generator. Just anything like that is kind of just what I want. Period. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But we'll see where we get things. Where stuff goes, how long it's gonna take. I assume, by the end of the season, Earth will be saved. And, the next season they'll be back in New York. But we can hope. So I'm not sure where that's going to be taking place, but I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and of course, with everything that's kind of happened in this episode and the black hole generator being taken by the Triceratons, of course, have to ask how long that's going to take for them to get it back. What's going to happen when they get it back? Will they be able to destroy it, not destroy it? It's kind of the same predictions that you guys have had before, so definitely want to know about that, and of course what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.